want to work things out. You still want to go the extra mile. That's what it says about your character. Now, in this society, we do the opposite. We get impatient, we get irritable, and we're quick to buck. We don't want to stick around, but I'm telling you, stick around, fight the fight in a positive way, and you will see the rewards in your relationship. Because it shows that you care. Now, I can only say so much about this. Until you experience it, then you will know what I'm talking about. If you want to be in love, you have to prove yourself to one another through challenges that may arise in your relationship. Because each and every challenge tests your worth, tests what you're about. Are you a man, are you a mouse, or are you just a boy? The call is yours, people. Now, check this out. Point number 16. Upholding good morals and values. Never giving up on one another, on one another or the relationship. Always seeking to succeed and thrive. That's the type of winning mentality you need to have in order for your relationship to work. Especially when it comes down to conflicting and troubling and challenging times. You need to be mindful of this. It's like business. If you don't have a strong attitude, a winning mentality, always to seek to thrive and to succeed, then your relationship, your business is going downhill. Imagine this. Think of all the areas that you've achieved or done well in. You've had that winning type of mentality, that approach. You know what? I'm going to go out there and get it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, and I'm going to attain it. You need to apply that same type of attitude in your relationship. Especially when the going gets tough, people. Because it will. A relationship is all about responsibilities and accountability. And once you're able to uphold these two morals and values, then that's when love increases. That's when you will have a beautiful relationship. The reward always comes after the hard work, as you will very well know. But you have to incorporate that into your relationship, people. Now, check this. Always look forward. That's another point. Point number 17 I want to bring to your attention. You're always looking forward to your children, to your spouse. Especially when you come back from a hard day's work or when you're just out and about. You can't wait until you get home. Because you're looking forward to seeing your spouse, your child, your children. They bring you much joy in your heart. There's a nice greeting when you come through the door. Nice exchange of words, conversation, communication. If you're in a bad relationship, you will do and look for whatever ways that you can to avoid the household, to avoid coming in. You'll never try and go elsewhere. Or you'll be scared as you turn that key. You know that something's going to erupt. Either a argument or some sort. There's a negative vibe inside the household. I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how successful you are. If you're in a relationship, that's not so good. When you come home, they're going to give you help. If you're in a beautiful relationship, it affects so many areas and aspects of your life when you're going out. Because the ultimate security is when you're at home with your family and it's peaceful. It's not necessarily peaceful, but there's love there. There's a good vibe there, generally. Majority of the time, most of the time. That's something nice to look forward to come back home to. It's a state of security. Rather than the opposite. You can't stand them. You're always in argumentation, conflict. They bring out the worst in you. But in a good relationship, I'll tell you what, a good relationship only exists if you work at it. And it has to be a two-way committed thing. It may be obvious to say, but I'm just reminding you from time to time, just in case if you've forgotten. And a good relationship does exist. But sadly, we're just surrounded by so many corrupted people, very negative influences and the environment around us. But it doesn't mean to say it doesn't exist. In life, you always got the opposite of the good and the bad. Why not be one of the good? Now, people, check this out. Point number 18. Generally, or most of the time, your spouse is responsive and gives you good feedback. They don't put you down. They don't discourage you. especially when it comes down to when you're asking for something. So, say for example, hey baby, can you make me some food? Yeah, baby, no problem. Things like that. Just, you always get a good response. Majority of the time, they're willing to do things for you, rather than you kicking up a fuss and expressing your demands. Go and get me this now. You don't even have to speak to your partner that way. You speak with kindness and they'll be willing to do whatever it is that you want them to do, providing it's not self-inflicting with harm. Right, so let's move on, people. Your spouse does not yes, this is another thing when you're in a good relationship. Your spouse does not belittle you or make you feel small, especially in front of others, and that includes your own children or your friends or just outsiders. Your spouse respects you enough. When they're upset with you, they will talk to you behind closed doors. They will talk to you in private and address you in terms of where you've upset them. They're always looking for a good... What's wrong? Hang on, son. Here. Sorry, people. Sorry, I do apologize for the interruption. This is my son's dummy. I'm going to try and get him to shut up so I can speak to you guys for a moment or two. There you go. Right, now that's that sorted. So, your spouse does not belittle you, does not make you feel small, especially in front of people. And that's really, really important because, especially in front of your children, your spouse knows how to address you, knows how to respect you, knows how to deal with you in a nice way, in a good way. Your spouse will always reason nicely with you, especially when the times are challenging, especially when they're very, very upset with you. If they're very upset, they'll keep silent until they've cooled down and then they'll speak to you. That's the sort of respect that I'm talking about. And you can only get that if you're in a good relationship, good marital relationship. Now, people, check this out. My last and final point. A good relationship consists of many, many nice moments. Sorry, people. Let me just tell you something. Every single relationship has their good times and their bad times. It goes up and it goes down. But the thing about a good relationship, marital relationship, is this. You have more ups than you have more of downs. That's the difference. When you're in a negative relationship, when you're in one of them boyfriend and girlfriend types of relationships, you tend to have more downs than you do of ups. The ups only last for a short period of time. But a marriage that provides security, where both spouses are trying to work together so their relationship thrives, you will have more ups, you will enjoy each other's company than you will have of bad moments together. That's what it's about, people. Let's be real here. You do have your sad moments, you do have your boring moments, you do have moments where you're passionate about one another, you're deeply in love with one another, where there's a lot of energy, fun and excitement and games, but also at the same time, on the flip side, you've got to be a man, you've got to be responsible, and you've got to be accountable. You do get your serious moments. And it's all about dealing with so many different types of emotions. People, when you're going through your bad times, how are you going to deal with it? That's the defining factor. Are you going to break up? Are you going to bust up and have a huge argument? Or are you going to try and work things out in a good way? Trying to understand each other. That's what it's about, people. So, I hope I have covered quite a few things that may be of interest to you guys out there. There's so much to learn, but I've only given you a small insight of the benefits of marriage, being in a good relationship. Now, let me tell you something, people. Being in a good relationship, it's easy to say, well, first of all, I've got to get a spouse and I've got to get the ideal partner. No, what I'm telling you is this. Once you've selected your spouse, first and foremost, that you've got to find as many things in common that you have. You've got to find as many things that you share in life with one another, which is similarities and common interests. Then it has more of a chance of it thriving and working. And then the next stage is having that commitment from both spouses that when you get together, you acknowledge with one another that there will be challenging times, but you will remain consistent, you will commit to one another, you will make a sacrifice for one another, and you have to work at it. I can't stress it more than enough that you have to work at it. Both spouses have to work at it. And in this society, it doesn't encourage spouses and people to stick around with one another. All it encourages is mischief and mayhem and just moving on to the next partner, leading that bachelor lifestyle. We're at a stage where it's easy to be single and mingle and just have fun. This society promotes so much fun and less accountability and responsibility. But in a marriage, in a good, beautiful relationship, marriage is all about security. And the only way that you will get security is if your morals and your values are upright and just. If you are accountable and responsible, and that needs to be a two-way thing. So people, I've said enough. Hopefully there's quite a lot to digest, but this is one of them type of videos where you got to replay over and over again and just really study it. If you're serious about your relationship, then you need to study this video and you need to take notes if you want your relationship to thrive. And it has to be a two-way thing. People, until then, take care, stay strong, stay focused, and always live to learn to power and inspire the lives of many, as well as yourself. Bye for now.